all the employees at the OSBI and all the criminalists, all the agents, they're very passionate, they're committed, and they're dedicated to solving these cases.
Unidentified bodies and remains are commonly referred to as John and Jane Does, a situation becoming so common that the U.S. Department of Justice has called the situation a silent disaster.
But I found out what the Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation is doing to identify the remains in the state. When it comes to identifying the John and Jane Does of Oklahoma, Dale Fine, Special Agent for Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation, says there's one major hurdle all investigators have to overcome.
Over time, some of your evidence may be lost or deteriorated, or possibly contaminated, so you're looking at loss of evidence. As time goes by, you start losing potential witnesses, whether they move away and have a difficult time identifying them, or in some cases they may be deceased.
While time is the enemy, those at OSBI have found ways to use it to their advantage. Advances in technology give new windows for forensic labs to reanalyze old cases and potentially make a breakthrough.
We work side by side, with the laboratory to review these cases and see if there's potential evidence that may have not been tested initially, or maybe it have been, maybe there could be a benefit to retest that because of just the advancements in that. When we have some of these cases that may have occurred 30, 40 years ago, the DNA technology wasn't there at the time. And so we constantly look at that, go back to these cases to see okay, can these cases be reviewed?
Constant advancements in analytical services also create opportunities to help local law enforcement with cases they could be struggling to solve.
Maybe we can apply this new technique to this piece of evidence in turn trying to get maybe a better result, because our instruments are getting better, getting more sensitive.
Through it all, the cold case unit at OSBI, driven by the families they serve, with the constant desire to provide answers and closure for those who have been looking for years.
We review, we analyze, and investigate, and ultimately solve these cold cases. Now, we may run this lead down and it may not materialize, or may lead to a dead end. Ultimately, at the end of the day, we're seeking justice for victims, and we're going to continue to do that day in and day out.
And the OSBI uses a variety of methods to help local agencies. They hold monthly meetings to talk about these cold cases and identify the ones that are primed to reinvestigate. They also run multiple trainings all across the state and highlight Missing Persons Day. You can learn all about these tools. We've got them posted on OKCFox.com. Now, in Oklahoma, one of the most notable cases where DNA technology identified a Jane Doe is the case of Tamara Lee Tygard, nearly 40 years known as only the Lime Lady. On April 18th in 1980, fishermen found the body of a young woman on the banks of the North Canadian River near Jones. She'd been shot several times and her body was covered in the chemical known as lime. At the time, investigators had no way to immediately identify her and her case went cold. But with the help of the DNA Doe Project, they were able to sequence DNA from her bones and start the genealogy process. In January of 2020, investigators confirmed her identity through Army dental records. However, we still don't know who took her life.
Austin police are highlighting the breakthroughs that helped them identify a suspect in the yogurt shop murders nearly 34 years later. The case was at the center of an HBO docuseries just last month. Just weeks before Christmas in 1991, 14 girls were found murdered inside the I Can't Believe It's yogurt shop. Investigators say new DNA and ballistics testing helped them link Robert Eugene Brashers to the crime. He died by suicide in 1999.
The only physical evidence located at that scene has been matched to him, and his DNA has since been, and before this connection, he has been connected to murders and rapes across the country.
The lead detective on the case says Brashers also had a gun that was the same make and model as the one used to kill the 4 teenagers. Austin police plan to work with other agencies to see if he can be linked to more cold cases.